Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm speaking here from the IPC Center itself. So we're trying to coordinate the talk so that we don't overlap our voice, and Doctor is in his room, so hopefully all good. Welcome everybody to today's webinar. And as you know, our title today is I Lost Interest in Having Sex with My Partner, and how to regain back the passion in your relationship. As everybody knows today, our speaker for the webinar is our Dr. Edward Chan, who's trained in psychology, PhD in psychology, a master's in learning, master's in nutritional medicine and psychology, and a postgraduate diploma in human sexuality. Dr. Edward is also the principal consultant psychologist, sex and couple therapist at Love Life Center for Sex Therapy of the International Psychology Centre. He's also board certified sex and couple therapist with the Malaysian Association for Psychotherapy. He's also a board certified sex and couple therapist with the International Society for Psychotherapy, Counseling and Psychiatry, fellow of the World Council for Psychotherapy, an invited speaker for the World Congress for Psychotherapy 2020, a keynote speaker for the 4th International Psychotherapy in Counseling and Psychiatry Conference on couple schema therapy, invited speaker for the 37th European Psychiatry Conference on couple schema chemistry, and also the author of Love is Never Enough, Pleasurable Commitment Rules for Couples. He also co-author of Positive Psychologist Couple Schema Therapy in the Journal for Reattached Therapy and Developmental Diversities, author of Positive Psychology Couple Therapy in the International Journal of Psychiatrists, and an accredited reattached therapist. So with all the qualification that Dr. Edward has, he's the best person that's going to speak about the topic on I lost interest in sex with my partner.
Thank you kindly, Sati, for that intro. Yes. And yeah, we are all learning.
Yes. It's an interesting journey. Okay. Yeah. Just to kind of start a little bit, so I'm just going to do a little bit of intro to the topic and then off to you, Dr. Edward. So naturally, in our Asian culture, it's probably a taboo a little bit to speak about sex, and moreover the lack or the loss of interest. However, in many understanding, sex is a natural thing and a beautiful in its existence to create deeper bond between two committed persons. If performed with knowledge and understanding of what your partner needs, it can also be a wonderful experience. But then on the contrary, there are couples that have lost that interest, one reason or another. So Dr. Edwards is here to walk us through this interesting topic.
Yes, I think it might be a good place to start by talking about the consequence and impact of this very common phenomena of losing interest in sex with our partner. So over the years, I have a lot of couples with this problem. Then sex has disappeared totally from their relationship. So then what we can talk a little bit about is what happened why is this a problem, right? Yeah, I mean, you said it's natural and beautiful. So what happened when you don't get it? is the, maybe we did a bit of conversation about that, but very much under discussed, but very common problem. Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah. Well. I think, as you said, it's a common occurrence in couples relationship, and I suppose what would be interesting is to find out why does it happen. Two person are committed together, and in some cases where it 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 did, it did occur. The couple do have sex in the beginning, but then what resulted in the lack or the lost? Could it be something about not understanding of each other's needs, or not having that conversation with the partners?
Yes. So in my book, Love is Never Enough, and hence the title. One of the quote is that, if you look after the relationship, then the sex will look after itself.
Say that again. If you look.
You look after your relationship, the sex
Yes.
will look after itself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So sexual problem in a way is a symptom of relationship problem.
It's a symptom.
So
if there is no sex in the relationship, there is a problem.
Right. That means that there's a problem in the relationship, right? Of course, there are the various reasons, but even on the other hand, recently I saw that there was this, I can't remember his name, this man with a prostate cancer, right? And he was talking about how he was not obviously able to have sex, but and then he was very afraid of having a relationship, but nevertheless he did, and that in fact gave him the gift of learning how to be vulnerable and have intimacy, amazing intimacy, even though he was not able to have penetrative sex, and since then, I'll try to get that name of that person and send it to you all. But it is possible, to have a great intimacy and sex. There are many forms of sex, of course.
Yes.
So that, yeah, go ahead.
I suppose it's kind of interesting because in our mind, we tend to think as sex as penetrative sex. Without it, it's always kind of it disabled a couple's way of showing sexual affection towards each other. So it's interesting you said that he found a way.
Yes.
And that provides great satisfaction.
Indeed. Of course, penetrative sex is the what you call the archetype, right? Of the male energy, right? We penetrate, and then the woman receive, right?
Yeah.
So this is what the Jung would call the universal, right? But in general, it also represents the giving and the receiving. Yeah. So the symbolic act of penetrating is basically giving, and the woman receiving. So there are many ways of giving. All right. Apart from penetrating. right?
Yes, yes. Actually, it's interesting you say that. When we talk about penetrative sex, you talk about the man giving and the woman receiving. Now, I have in the past come across couples that have come forward, and the woman is not actually receiving a lot of satisfaction because she hasn't been able to orgasm during penetrative sex.
Right.
So yes, so what and there are, if I mean, we have read that there are some women who are able to achieve orgasm during penetrative sex, and there are women who are not able to orgasm during penetrative sex. So how can we kind of talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Now, first of all, we can talk a little bit about what is the benefit of orgasm.
Mm.
All right, for both male and female. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So when a woman have orgasm, it basically releases a lot of the female hormone estrogen.
Right.
Right, and when a woman like I know during ovulation and I know you and pregnancy, you can see the peak of estrogen in a woman, and you can see that she is like radiating, right? So this is when women really at the element. They're full of confidence. They're happy. So this is what orgasm gives them, right? And that is why it is desirable to have orgasm. And the same thing with ejaculation, which is the male equivalent of orgasm, for men, right? But the difference with men is after ejaculation, then they have a testosterone spike, and then after that, it's going to be resolution, and that would then be on this phase where everything reside. So too much ejaculation, on the other hand, for male is not good, right? It's going to deplete them of their testosterone, and this is a problem that we have many patients coming to us that are addicted to masturbation, for example. They do it like several times a day, and this is a big problem. They deplete themselves of their testosterone. All right.
So it is true when they say that after men ejaculate, then they become extremely tired. And when women orgasm, women can write a storybook after that.
Yes.
We're full of energy after that.
That's right. That's right.
Can cook.
Well, so the trick now is to teach men how to have an orgasm without ejaculation, right? This is an ancient Chinese Taoist technique, that goes back to thousands of years, and John Gray, the famous sex guru, practiced it, and also so this is our recommendation, not to have ejaculation for more than 7 days at a time, and if that would be what the ancient gurus teachers. Yeah.
So you
And
mean to say not to have ejaculation in 7 days, within 7 days?
yes, that would be the recommendation from the Taoists, and certainly modern sex therapists like John Gray also subscribe to that, and I would recommend that. So for men, for many, people do not know that the orgasmic pathway and the ejaculation pathway are separate, right? It is and this is a solution for premature ejaculation, erectile dysfunction, which plague many men, right? And this is terrible for men, because once you are not able to sustain your erection, you have a crush in your testosterone. You feel your whole manhood is inadequate, right?
Yes.
So that's
So, doctor, in terms of our, going back to our topic, which says
Mm,
about losing that interest, is there a
yes.
possibility then for either party not to feel that satisfaction, and that's why eventually it kind of build up to losing interest in having sex with their partners?
Yeah, so there are indeed many reasons
Mm.
for losing that interest, So in the beginning of their courtship, of course that their passion was at the height, right?
Mhm.
And this is also very much to do with dopamine, which is a chemical in our brain, right? The chemical that enable us to have pleasure, right? Um, but for many couples, this dopamine is not sustained, because of their relationship, of the behavior that they engage in, do not support this sustenance of dopamine. All right, so there's one thing we can talk about, how to keep your relationship in that novel, passionate form where dopamine continue to be released. All right, and why it's not sustained, why it's not sustainable, and you need to realize that dopamine is a chemical in the neurotransmitter that enable a forefather, to come out of Africa, to
Yes.
explore the rest of the world, because we are not satisfied with what we have. We want to venture out,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
We want to explore. So that is the power of dopamine, and that is akin to a new relationship. We are so excited meeting someone new, getting to someone new, right? But then over the months and years, we feel we know everything about our partner.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we have these assumptions even before they finish a sentence. We feel we heard it all before, and then we start giving advice, putting them down. This is not going to happen. You'll never be able to do it. So this dampen the whole release of dopamine, right? And this one major problem of why we lose passion
Yes.
in our
So, like you
relationship.
said in your book, you have to look after the relationship, and
Yes,
and sex will be fine if your relationship is ignited. So,
yes.
how do couples who've been together for some time and have had their peaks of sexual encounters with each other, and 5 years down the road there's the children, there's the responsibility, so how do couple actually go back to reigniting that passion?
Well, yes, that is a good question. All right, it is a responsibility when our responsibility when we want to bring new life into the world. We want to create an environment that is healthy for them. I was just teaching a class in child psychology psychotherapy just now, prior to this, and we were saying how important it is for parents to continue having a good relationship with each other, right? You want to provide a very healthy environment to bring your child in. So part of that would ensure that you have someone taking care of your child, so that you both can continue to have this pair bonding, right?
Yes.
But very often that it's not the case, that the father felt left out,
Yeah.
they're competing with the child, and all sort of dynamics come into play, as a result
It's
of
it's
this.
actually, yes. It's actually
Mm,
interesting you say that, because once you kind of have a child living under one roof with you, you tend to feel that you are responsible for this child, and your identity as a couple you tend to forget. It's so easy to get so involved in your responsibilities towards a child that you forgot that you actually started with a couple identity together, you know. And
Yes.
that's what I think that in the past, when I was practicing, a few people tend to forget that they do have responsibility, you know, between each other, to
Yes.
have a date night, you know, because we
Indeed.
used to go out, yes, as a couple. That's how couples started, you know,
Yes.
dating,
Yes.
and you know.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Of
yes.
course, it's
So
finding the time.
well, so this is the couple's responsibility to ensure that before you bring a new life into this world, that you have that facility. You know, otherwise it's pretty unfair. You know, you're not providing this couple bonding time, you know, that you used to have, and then there is starting to be resentment, you know, from parties, and part of that is as practical as sleeping arrangements, you know. In unfortunately in Asian culture, I find, you know, couple and the child still share the same bed when they are like, you know, 7 years old. Imagine that.
Yes. The in between.
Yeah, the in between, and that very often become you know, a way to avoid intimacy.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
It is.
I had a couple of years ago, I had a woman that came in, and she and her husband didn't have a child for 15 years. And then they went through, I think they went through IVF, and then finally she conceived it with a baby girl. And she was so obsessed with the child got, that her husband was there. So there was a lot of problems that occurred after the child was born. And 7 years afterwards, the child is going to school, and she said to me, you know, the husband is complaining that they haven't had intimacy for a very long time, because she was obsessed after 15 years of not having a child. So yes, so that commitment to each other, I think you're right. You have the responsibility to each other. You own that responsibility to each other, because you make that commitment. Yeah, it's not what do you call it? You can't make it an excuse. It's you make that commitment together, so you do it.
So that is important points, right? That courtship shouldn't end when you're married, or when you have a child. You know, you need to continue to date one another, to have this date night, like you were saying, you know. And for women especially, and even for men, you know, we have this concept of foreplay, right? Before the coitus, and foreplay has two elements. It's not only the physical foreplay, you know, but also the psychological, social foreplay, and which, you know, what you call the flirting aspects.
Yes.
You know, I mean,
Yes.
why do we flirt? You know, if you remember, why do you flirt with your partner? You know, in the first place. All right. So you know, why do you think you do that?
Well, because you are interested in his attention. You flirt. You want him to kind of, yes.
Yeah, but especially for men, you flirt in order to get the woman in bed with you, right? That was the objective, right?
Yes.
You want to get them to the bed, so that is all the activities that you do leading to that. You know, hopefully you'll be able to be successful in doing that. There's a lot of noises. Yeah. Okay. So yes, that that is what we call the psychological foreplay, and for many couples, they stop doing that, right? That they stop bringing flowers, they stop sending a text message to say, I'm thinking of you, I miss you. You know, these are all flirting behavior that we used to do, and without that, then you don't have this psychological foreplay, and we don't feel being desired, and that's would be one of the other reasons why
Yes.
passion go downhill, because
Yes.
all these foreplay are important elements to sustain and create passion. So if you want to look at, we were talking about penetration just now, right? And so the way to visualize sex would be like a pyramid, right? You have the tip of the pyramid and then a large base, right? So penetration would be right at the top, but underneath there is a lot of other stuff, create the base. You have physical foreplay just underneath there, but there's also the social foreplay, the psychological foreplay, and all these dating couple behavior need to be in place,
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
dialogue and everything.
Yes. I think for most couple relationship, I think once you kind of start being committed and then you're living under one roof together, you tend to forget that that is what started the dating and the flirting. And like you said, those were the things that kind of got the couple together. And then when you start living under one roof, life becomes so comfortable. You then tend to think, oh, you don't need that anymore because you're married. You're living under one roof, so you tend to have this comfort level, and you tend to forget that it is so important to keep that alive.
Yes, very, 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 very true. Yeah.
But why do you think that it's so easy to forget that? Because you are living under one roof together, and you tend to be so, you know each other so much.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like you lose yourself. Yeah, you lose yourselves. How there are many couple that tell me, that since his marriage that they lost themselves. All right.
Lost themselves.
Yeah, they lost themselves in the business of being a mother, of the stress of work and all that. They lost themselves. So which brings me to this book, by Houston, called Partnering, and its subtitle is How to Love One Another, how to love each other without losing yourselves. All right.
That's actually good.
Losing
Yeah.
yourself. So the idea behind that is we have many selves. All right. So this is the psychology of selves, which is also encapsulated by the daughter of Houston, Tama Stone. She created this lovely stack of cards called the psychology of cells, or cells in a box card. So we have many cells, right? So we have the lover. I will try to find it for you. Yes, we have this. The what is this?
Playful.
Yeah, the playful child, right? So this is what we do when we first, you first meet your partner. You are so playful, right?
Yes.
You just be a flirt. You're very creative, and then that is that they get lost. It's still in there. It doesn't mean that it's gone. It's just that so other cells come, like what is this? Do you see this? This is
The
you
judge.
you become
The
judgmental.
judge.
You
Yeah.
become critical. And so this the seducer self, get lost as well. And you also then suppress the vulnerability. You being the vulnerable child. So all this then become a problem. And and also you try to become like a perfectionist, right?
Yes. Yes.
Trying to do everything perfectly. You try to push, you try to change your partner, right? uh, so all these selves come about, yeah.
Yes, yes.
um, and of course, not to forget the responsible self, so
Yeah,
that is important.
yeah.
So
It's
this self,
actually,
this
yes.
self died, the romantic
Mm,
get suppressed, and yeah, this is a very important self, the free spirit self, right?
yeah.
And so yes, that is the problem. Yes, I found it. The
The
flirt
flood.
self, the flirt. So that self, when it dies,
Yes.
um, yeah.
I think Jolene just asked a question about the card.
What? Yeah, this is the card that you ordered, Jolene. The psychology of cells, the cells in a box. So this is on the way to you, Jolene. Okay.
I might
So
actually order that box as
you're
well.
right. Okay, cool. So then so this is what we mean by losing yourselves. All right. So these cells are not lost, but they
Yeah.
are disowned. They are suppressed. All right.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and
But can I also say why? I mean, just from the talk that we had and you flashing those cards just now, I kind of tend to think that the expectation seems to rise when you get together, when there is a committed relationship together. You tend to expect a lot from each other, and that's why the pusher comes out. The responsibilities comes out, and you tend to forget, you tend to lose, like you said, that book, you tend to lose yourself as a couple, as a personal. I remembered one of a couple that had confided in me, and what he said, that she used to love to dress up,
right.
that was her thing. And then they got married 5 years down the road. I think this couple doesn't have a child. No, she forgot that she can still look good.
Yes, indeed,
Um, and then
indeed.
most I'm not sure statistically whether I'm right, but most women tend to kind of take things for granted, that we've already belonged to somebody. So let's eat three meals or 4 meals a day. Forget about diet, forget about looking good, you have the man. So that tends to be quite a common occurrence as well. You sort of felt so relaxed now that you've got a partner for life, and he's going to be there. You think that he's going to be there for forever, and you tend to forget yourself. And women tend to not look after themselves. I'm not sure about men, and we tend to think that it's okay that we're married, so we don't have to look beautiful anymore. But actually, it's very important. I think for self-esteem, self-confidence,
Yes,
women have to remember looking good is part of that. It brings out
indeed.
that confidence and esteem. Yeah,
Yeah.
even to walk down the street, even when you're on your own, especially when you're, even when your partner is not there. It comprises of your, not just confidence, it's a mental well-being.
Yeah, very true, very true. Yes, and as partner, we need to appreciate our partner looking good as well, and that
Yes,
would add the
yes,
incentive, for us to do that, right?
yes.
Yeah.
And again, here is your responsibility to your partner. So when two people get together, it's a commitment that you share. So this commitment is not easily, if you're really a committed person, you tend to think that you're taken a vow, and it also means that you want to look good for your partner. You want to be sexy.
Yes.
You want to be able to talk flirtatiously. You have to learn to do
Yes.
all that, even if you don't know before.
Indeed, indeed.
You read books on it to develop your skills.
Yes. And the other aspects about this is that we are all very complex being. All right. So this idea that we know our partner is very seriously flawed.
Yes.
Right. It is not possible to totally know another person, ever. There are so many aspects of them, so many parts, so many cells, in ourselves as well as in our partner, right? So this psychology of selves concept provide us with this depth psychology. What this is what Jung will call it, the depth psychology. That there is a whole complexity, archetypes, shadows, in all of us. And when you get married to one another, you're not just marrying two person, you're marrying two complex system.
Lives. Yes.
Yeah, two complex group of cells, basically, of a very rich dynamics. Yeah. And you can spend the whole several lifetime,
Yes.
getting to know one another.
I think it's interesting you brought that up because I think a couple of weeks ago we went through a topic and we spoke about arguments and how it can be beautiful. It can be self-development if you look at it in a different perspective. I mean, you have to consider without verbal abuse, without putting each other down. You argue for the sake of understanding each other's position, not to gain who's right and who's wrong, but rather you see two different perspectives. And
Yes.
I think the lack, the loss of interest in sex in couples also can result as not understanding how to argue or what to take from the argument instead of harboring negative thoughts afterward, or resentment can build, and that can be, stopping them. Yeah.
So the problem with unconstructive or even destructive argument is that we have monocular views, right, about things. Yeah. So what we need to acquire is this binocular and even multicular, if it's such a word, views, perspectives. That there's no one truth. So the problem arises when we're like that, those group of blind men, grouping the elephant, and you say, this is a part, and everyone has a different part, right? So we need to acquire this view and learn how to see, your partner. Do you know that the Maori, right? The way that they greet each other is "I see you," and for me, I see you. That is the greeting, and that's so beautiful, right? I see you, but we don't see each other anymore, right? So that is the problem. So we need to regain that fresh perspective of seeing our partner. We all long to be seen, to be known, right? Yeah.
I think to achieve, and this is what kind of throughout the years when you have a couple relationship and it's easily lost, the interest is easily lost when you don't understand that when two people get together, it's about trying to understand and develop that skills to understand and love each other, whether it's good or bad. Basically, like you said, we're two programs that decided to coexist together, and these programs are not perfect from the beginning. So how do you then see that, okay, I really don't like that about my partner, but you need to kind of embrace it as part of him or her?
Well, actually, if I might correct you a little bit, the last part, you need to embrace that part of your partner that you don't like as part of yourselves, actually.
Part of
not
yourself.
not
Okay.
not not only
Interesting.
him, not only him or her. No,
Yes.
the part of her that irritates me is actually, the part of
Yes.
me, part of myself that I have suppressed, I have disowned, right?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yeah. So
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 it's a
that
reflection of what
exactly
you
of what I
see,
have
but you
been
don't like,
exactly, yeah, that
and
I
you've
have
been avoiding.
disowned. That I've been avoiding about myself.
Yeah.
So I need to embrace back that my disowned selves.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the message for me, the learning for me, when I have this irritation or dislike about my partner, especially. You see, with a stranger, that might not be an issue, but with my
No.
partner, because we have this share attachments, and intimacy becomes a problem, right?
Yes.
We are on a much shorter leash with our partner.
Exactly, exactly. I completely agree.
Mm,
It's strange because in my relationship, Steve would say that, you're so different. Because I'm a social butterfly. I love entertainment. I love entertaining. I love socializing. Like it's so true. I put him on a shorter leash because there is a certain
mm,
responsibility and obligation is a different leash that I hold to people that that could just be strangers,
yes.
people that yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I think Jolene has some question there. Shall we address that?
Yes, let me
Mm.
put the chat. Okay, let me see. um Jolene says, can I say, take things for granted? I tend to do this. Busy with my work. Yes, Jolene, it is true. I think we covered
I
that a
think
little
I
bit.
think yeah, I think she has a question about hormones, right?
Hormones, okay.
Yeah, can female hormone
Consumer hormones
affect
affect the sex.
sex, right?
Yes.
Or emotion affect the low production
Action.
of hormones, right?
Yeah.
And and uh, and that being dry,
Mm.
would be an issue, or is it because of aging? This is a very important question, right?
Yes.
So I use hormones, and I run the WellLab, and which is a laboratory where we do hormone tests, and we use a saliva test to measure hormones for males and females, especially the sex hormone, right? Like I
Mm.
mentioned, for female estrogen, and estrogen has different components. There's E1, E2, and E3,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's progesterone as well, DHEA. All these are different components of female hormones. So the question Jolene asked is would behavior, psychology affect hormone? And we have already said just now, orgasm would enhance production of estrogen, definitely. But many other behavior, especially couple behavior, when you're receiving, from a man, when you're being vulnerable, when you're dependent on a man, this is when you're in your estrogen phase. You're
Mm.
in your feminine, in your feminine energy.
Energy.
Yeah, when you allow the man to open the door for you, to
Mm-hmm.
put his jacket over a puddle.
Yes.
This you play this part, but woman, the problem today is that you are also competent, independent. You feel you don't need this from the man anymore. But that's a disservice to your feminine side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to get back in touch, to learn to be dependent on the man, would enhance back this positive hormonal cycle of feminine and male masculine energy. All right.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of behavior that you
Yes.
can. Hmm.
Doctor, I just want to kind of reiterate what Jolene was saying. Is it as a result when women are dry, is it as a result of emotion, or is it because of aging? And that could actually, make women lost interest in sex, because it's not a pleasant experience when you're dry during sexual intercourse.
Yes, I mean, no doubt that as you age, your hormonal production would decrease, and of course when you have menopause, then you have very much less estrogen, and many other hormones. But even then, there are the feminine behavior, couple behavior, that you can engage into to maximize your feminine side, right? Yeah.
Does foreplay, prolonged foreplay, help to overcome that dryness,
Yes.
prior to penetrative sex?
Yes, very much so, and we have already mentioned that there are two types of foreplay, not only the physical part, but even the anticipation of sex, which is a psychological foreplay. When you have a lovely dinner, you chat, the man is interested in you, or all this anticipation would very much increase, the whole mechanism, the hormonal cycle. But of course we do have hormonal supplementation as well, if indeed doing the lab test, and it was found that there were real deficient production. So sex is a psycho-physical phenomena. All right, it's both psychological and physical. It's both, and in fact, Groucho Marx say, Groucho Marx, one of my favorite comedians, is that the biggest sexual organ is the brain. That's the largest. So it is when we have the anticipation, about sex, we feel bonded, that you have all this hormonal production.
Now we have a question from Esther. What would be your take if a couple stay too long in a child-adult/parent dynamic? With that, sex will turn stale. In this case, how would you help the couple to reignite back their passion and be attracted to each other? Does that mean that the couple is staying? Parent dynamics stay too long in a child.
So what I take that to mean is to have the parent-child dynamic. So one partner is like a parent, another is like a child. I would interpret that as that question, right? Yes, as they say, yes, yeah. Okay. So this is particularly can become a problem when you have a critical parent, and what you have is a adaptive or sulky child, or even rebellious child. You have that very unhealthy dynamic. On the other hand, you can have an over-controlling parent, and then a rebellious or detached child as well. So there are various dynamic going on, between parent and child dynamic. So that is being stuck in a negative pair bonding. Right, so that is what I would label that. So they need to move back into the positive pair bonding, to be aware of their partner, their partner self. So there's one self called the partner self. All right, so they need to get back to that, the flirt self, and then the romance self, all these other self, instead of getting stuck in a critical parent and an adoptive child, right? So that will become a problem. So in our therapy, we facilitate for each of the partner, right, to be aware of all the other selves, So recently I have a couple, in fact, that they were of the Muslim faith, right? And the wife just found out that the husband was involved in pornography, right? And she was very shocked because as a Muslim, this is not something you would do. But in fact, the husband, say it was a secret. He had been hiding this from the wife, and he has been like doing this from teenage, since he was a teenager. So that was part of him that has been hidden. All right. So then I use an empty chair and get him to sit on the empty chair, and be the the self that uses pornography. All right. So I introduce him, as this pornography using self, right? The pleasure, the pleasure seeking self, right? But by using pornography in this sense, and introduce him to the wife, right? And then we talk about that with no judgment. What value do you get out of using pornography? And what does it gives you? And that validates him, and the wife can see that, and that helped the whole process, so he can start to reclaim back, and embrace back that self, and the wife then can also look at a part of herself which has been disowned, right? In that process, and then maybe she can even think of I'm not recommending pornography per se, but that the whole process of seeking pleasure may be something that she has disowned, and she can incorporate back. Yeah. So this is the way that we might want to help couple to get in touch back, and embrace all this other part of themselves.
There is a continuation to ask this question. She asks, if the couple is stuck in a negative dynamic, do you think a temporary separation for a while would be healthier for them to recreate that healthier dynamic?
There is this rubber band theory, right? The rubber band concept that John Gray talk about. Men need to go into their caves, and women do not pursue and allow that. But that is different from a separation where literally you stay apart. Yeah. So it's important to have cave time, right? But you can be doing your activity, spending time with your pals, or even reading the paper, watching TV by yourself, or playing some game, so that alone time, separation time is important for both parties, right?
Yes.
So that
I think it's interesting you mentioned that about the caves, the men caves and stuff.
Yes.
And I think it's very healthy. It is so healthy that you are a couple that are committed together. Now, prior to meeting, you have a life. The way you lead your life. And then when you met somebody who you want to spend the rest of your life together, your life intertwined. But you cannot forget that before that, you have a life that kind of makes you happy. You used to do classes or art, or and that shouldn't stop as when you get together as a couple.
Totally.
Your identity as an individual is as important as identity as a couple. So I totally agree with you in terms of the caves. You need to keep that alive, because it's great when you separate for a few hours. You tend to miss each other.
Yes.
You need to miss each other.
Indeed. Yeah. So this is what we call the developmental phase of couplehood. Just like a child and a mother that go through a developmental phase. At first there is total fusion. The child doesn't know where he ends and when the mother begins. They are totally fused together. And this is just like couples. At first they do everything together. They can't be separated. Yeah, but then soon you will get into a more independent phase, and that is also important. But one party inevitably cannot let go, that they just pursue, and that becomes a problem. So we need to get to the interdependent phase, where we, like you say, we are still dependent, but we have our own space as well, right? This is what the M. Scott Peck, metaphor comes in handy of, couplehood is like the, climbing a mountain. Two of you climb the mountain, but you do it individually. It is your own individual journey, all right? And you meet up, halfway at the rest house, to recoup, and meet. But then, you cannot be do the whole climb together, because you have your own different pace, but you can certainly pull your resources together at a different time. I think that is a lovely metaphor, right?
Yeah.
For that.
Now, we have another question. Jolene, doctor, I encountered a client who was raped during childhood, and she's married now with 2 kids. How do we help her? As she says, she's reluctant to have sex because the memory of being raped kept disturbing her.
Yes. So we need to do some therapy, right, to really process those traumatic memory. There are a number of therapies that we do, right? And as a couple, the partner, we can facilitate for the partner to heal, the other party as well.
Yes.
Yeah. But just so for example, there's a EMDR, therapy is very effective. The process, the traumatic memory. We can do schema therapy, rescripting the whole scenes. If we can even do psychodrama. But as a couple, we can then get the partner to be like a container, to be very gentle, to contain, all the feelings that the wife has, she can then just feel safe to be vulnerable.
Yes,
right?
I think Jolene also added that until today, her client didn't tell her husband about the rape, so the husband has no idea.
Yeah, so that is the first key. The relationship has to be safe enough, emotionally safe enough for the wife to feel vulnerable, to be able to share these feelings, these vulnerable feelings. These are very vulnerable feelings. So the key to intimacy is to share your vulnerability, to reveal your vulnerability. So when you can't do that, you cannot be intimate. She's locked in a prison. Without being intimate, without being vulnerable, you cannot have good sex.
Yes, I agree.
Because to have sex, you need to be vulnerable. As a woman especially, you expose yourself, and the man, you remain hard, and yet you are tender, and this is the whole sex making love process, to deal with vulnerability, and to reveal yourself, in the presence of another person, your words and everything, right?
I think the relationship get to a very complex level if you are not able to, like when you say the Maori greeting is "I see you."
Yes.
And it's so important, no matter how you tend to look at it at whichever angle. As a couple, you need to be able to achieve that ICU level, like really, see each other. And if you don't have that, and like Jolene was talking about her client, her husband doesn't know. So that's a different level of complexity that will arise from a relationship that hasn't got that safe space you spoke about.
Very true. Very true. Yes. Yeah. Fantastic. We have covered a lot of ground, and I think we reached the end of the hour, the top of the hour now. And wow, this has been a lovely chat.
It has, informative. Yes.
Yeah, and
All right.
yeah.
So, do we take any questions? Any other question quickly? If we can go through. Anybody has any question? If not, we can get to our supervised case supervision.
Yes. I think I don't see any more question there. I think,
Okay.
but we need to change room, so we need to say goodbye. Yeah, to folks. And this book is here. You can order it definitely. No worries, Jolene. Yeah,
Mhm.
just tell your supervisor, and yeah.
Okay.
So it's been great. Thank you for all these questions, and thank you for this very thought-provoking chat, Zati.
Yes.
Uh,
Thank you for
mm.
your knowledge. All right. Okay. So
Yeah.
thank you everybody for attending.